Welcome to High Drama. Do we feel like dismantling everything we saw this time around? Well, let's start with Tom Rowan's Dismantling Prospero at the Dream Up Festival Theater for the New City. It has everything falling apart when overzealous scrutiny is placed on a ballet about the Tempest. COVID has ended, and the senior graduating dance majors get to put on a spring production of The Tempest, created by their well known and respected Professor Griffin, who wants to put a whole new spin on The Tempest using his students' strengths into casting. Emily, who is the best technical dancer, but without a soul, gets to be Miranda. This disappoints Sarah, who is cast as Ariel. Jake gets to be Ferdinand, but he wanted Sarah, his BFF, to be Miranda too. Griffin will take on Prospero. Personally, I always thought Ariel was a much better part than Miranda. Sarah is going out with a wrestler, Marcus, who is taking a beginner dance class to help with his wrestling moves. Griffin notices his ferocious bear moves and casts him as Caliban. Everything comes to a head when Christina, the person who looks after diversity, needs to make sure everything is politically correct, gets involved. Griffin is innocently incorporating Sarah's Indonesian dance moves that she excels at with Ariel's choreography. This irks Emily, who can't use her point skills as Miranda. Emily complains to Christina about cultural appropriation, which Griffin is clueless about. This sets off a firestorm of protest. Emily further schemes and plants in Sarah's head that they should switch parts so that Emily can be on point as Ariel and Sarah can have the lead part of Miranda. Griffin doesn't go for it and Emily storms out. Is it because Sarah is black and Griffin wants to create a white family? What is up with casting a non-dancer as the dark monster Caliban? Is it because Marcus is black and racial profiling is occurring? All the buzzword emotions are weaponized against Griffin. Will all this negativity and bad publicity get him canceled? They even try to throw in sexual misconduct because Griffin playfully taps Jake on the rear, or is it the hip? Jake doesn't even notice or care until he is told that it is bad. This is a clever satire that really shows how over the top this whole looking for problems that really don't exist can get. They can be created with an overactive imagination or scheming to get one's own way. The operative word here is creating. Griffin is old school and just wants to create a special ballet to showcase his students to the outside world with invited professionals in the audience. But everyone is running around getting their feelings hurt, not realizing they are hurting their own chances to do something great. This really is polarizing, as some, like me, are on Griffin's side and others will identify with the other views. The acting was quite earnest and wonderful. Not only did you get a thought provoking play, but some great dance moments. This cast could dance as well as act. Kudos also to Kevin Ray's direction, Ai Toyoshima's choreography, and the music composed by Martin Hennessy. This play had something for everyone. Happy Face Plus.
At New York City Center, you could see Eva, The Secret Conversations, written by Elizabeth McGovern, based on the book, The Secret Conversations, by Peter Evans and Eva Gardner, directed by Moritz von Stulpnagel. I hope I pronounced it correctly. The show is basically setting up the experience of the celebrity journalist, the British man Peter Evans, working with Eva, trying to get her to reveal interesting things for a biography, an autobiography, supposedly. She's doing it because it's late in her life. She needs money. Evans' agent, I guess, the person who sort of set up the job for him, keeps pressuring him to get some dirt on Frank Sinatra, Ava's third husband. We do get some about him, but there's also a lot about first husband Mickey Rooney, second husband Artie Shaw. I see that Ms. McGovern is fascinated by Ava Gardner, who wouldn't be? But the show just seems kind of aimless, and going from maybe one anecdote to another, and also it's an impossible thing. How can we accept Elizabeth McGovern, who's kind of cute, but she's not Ava Gardner? And
Nobody
uh,
is.
but there, she did look great in one costume at the end. The last one is a real knockout. But basically, I kind of enjoyed it only on the level of celebrity gossip. And if you have to pay for a ticket, I don't think celebrity gossip is a big enough draw. I gave it mixed face.
Yeah, I mean, I love Elizabeth McGovern ever since Ragtime and also Downton Abbey. So, I mean, the draw here is Elizabeth McGovern. I was really looking forward to this. But she is, to me, she actually does look a little bit like Ava Gardner when they saw pictures. She does have that glamorous possibility. But the thing is, I was very disappointed. There was too much about the author and his agent and not enough about Ava Gardner. I wanted to learn more about Ava Gardner. And they didn't like talk, they only sort of smooth things over. They didn't talk about the fact that these husbands abused her. She was constantly being like picking abusive husbands. And they don't mention any of that stuff. And I thought that, would make it a little bit more interesting to say the bad stuff as well as the good stuff. So I was very disappointed. So but I love Elizabeth McGovern. If you love Elizabeth McGovern, you go and just see Elizabeth McGovern on stage, and don't expect to hear too much about Ava Gardner. So I'm giving it a mixed face too.
I actually paid for a ticket to see this. So I sort of like after talking to you, I was really saying, okay, fine, I'm expecting more. And I have to say the big problem for me is just the structure of the show, that considering he is playing not just the author, but he's also playing the three husbands during the show. And there's so much back and forth. It takes too many seconds for the audience to realize who he is when he opens his mouth.
Thank you for pointing that out. That's so true. I forgot about that. So you had no idea. It's like, oh, is he not the author anymore? And then there was this weird supposed sexual tension going on when he was all of the people. So thank you for pointing that out. Anyway, continue, Tony.
So one of the things I did like about the Ava play, Ava: The Secret Conversations, is the lead actor, Aaron Costajanis, was almost creepy in his ability to copy the exact sound of Frank Sinatra in concert. And even his speaking voice. People will remember his speaking voice from films and his singing voice from concerts. And it was really, really on the money. I would say I'd give it a mixed happy face.
Well, I am so excited to have our next guest here, Martin Denton, who you may remember from marathonally reviewing all the Fringe shows back in the day when Elena Holty was doing it back in August. It was a phenomenal thing you did. And thank goodness, because there was like hundreds to choose from. And because of you, we could choose things. But now you're here to tell us about a special award that you have created and when it's going to happen. And I want to hear all about it.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really excited to be able to, first of all, to see you again. It's been a long time, and I'm excited to be able to tell you about what we're doing. Sadly, my mother, Rochelle, passed away on April 20th. She was 89, and she'd been ill for a while, but she died peacefully at home and in her bed. And so, if you're going to go, she went, I think, in a way that she wanted to go, and in a way that was nice and peaceful and kind of blessed. And I was right there with her, which made me very glad that I was there when she passed. But anyway, before she died, she and I had really our last serious conversation, and that conversation was about the idea of setting up awards in her honor and memory. When we were together in business for the 20 years that we ran the New York Theater Experience, the early part of this century. She and I basically, as Eva mentioned, we're avid theater goers, theater reviewers, great supporters of the indie theater community through our nonprofit, the New York Theater Experience. We published a 12 volumes of new anthologies of plays. We did podcasts. We wrote all these reviews and did listings on our website and did a lot of things to advocate for the indie theater community. And that meant a lot to us then, and it still means a lot to me now, and it meant a lot to her all the way through the end of her life. So before she died, we talked about what we might do to sort of get that, keep that flame burning after her passing. And what we decided we wanted to do was to create an annual awards program to honor people who are providing service to the indie theater community, artists who are, either directors or actors or playwrights or designers or stage managers or producers, people who are doing exemplary work in the indie theater community, providing leadership to it, and also people who are not at the very beginning of their career, but who've been doing this for a long time. I mean, her idea was that we would be honoring people that she would remember and know, and who had been around for a while. And I thought that was a beautiful concept. And so that's what we're going to be doing. And so on Monday, September 15th, at 7 o'clock, we're going to open the doors at Judson Memorial Church in Greenwich Village. Beautiful space. Have you been there, Eva, to Judson?
Oh, yeah, they do a lot of shows there. I go to see a lot of shows there.
Yeah, well, the senior pastor there, Micah Busey, you must know him. Micah is a longtime friend to us. He was, when he first, actually, I first got to know him about 20 years ago when he had his first show in the Fringe Festival. And of course, he's grown up now, and he's not doing much performing, but he is now the senior pastor at Judson. And so when we had this notion of wanting to do a public awards show, he was the first person I thought of in terms of where would be the great venue to do this. We actually did our last book publishing party at Judson, so it seems like a nice circle to come back there and do the event there. So to get back to the details, it's Monday, September 15th. At 7 o'clock, we open the doors at Judson. And what we're going to be doing is presenting 6 individuals with awards, what we're going to call the Rochelle Denton Awards. I have a feeling that if my mother was still alive, she wouldn't have let us call them the Rochelle Denton Awards because she was a very humble person. But now that she's not here to complain, we're going to name them in her honor. And I think it's very, very appropriate to do so. And this year, we've chosen the award winners. I say we, but it's basically I chose the award winners this year. And I didn't do I don't make any pretense of a fair process. There was no voting. There was no democracy in this process this year. Probably in the future years, there will be. And probably in future years, we'll get together with people who are acquainted with the indie theater world and let them help us pick people. But for this inaugural year, what I wanted to do was to recognize 6 people who meant a great deal to the success of our organization. Basically, 6 people that had they not stepped forward 20, 25 years ago and helped us get started, we would never have had the success that we had. And so I'm very happy to be able to publicly acknowledge what they did for us and to, reward them with, they're going to be each getting a check, and they're also going to get a nice plaque, and hopefully just be able to bask in the admiration and respect of their colleagues for an evening. And I will tell you who they are because it's public now. It's not a secret. First up is John Clancy, who was one of the original founders of the New York International Fringe Festival and also the first executive director of the League of Independent Theater. And he's also a wonderful playwright and director in his own right. He's got lots and lots of great credits. And in fact, I don't know if you know this, but he just came back from the Edinburgh Festival, where he had a new play that he wrote that was enormously successful. And so he's still out there doing stuff and doing great work. And he was always a great friend to our organization. He was one of our advisory committee members for many, many years. And at the ceremony, I'll, of course, talk more about what each of these people did in detail. The second one is Michael Criscolo, who was one of our longtime reviewers. He probably reviewed more shows for us than anyone except me. That's actually not true. Probably, it's definitely him. And besides that, he's also a marvelous actor and director. And he's actually he's been out in San Francisco area, and I guess he's in Oakland now for the last 10 years or so. And so we'll be happy that he'll be coming back to New York City for this event next month. And Michael is still acting. He's still got the acting bug that never goes away. And he just was in a production of Sylvia out there in California, which I would have loved to have seen. The third nominee or third winner, I should say, is Tim Cusack, who is another wonderful actor and director and writer. who's been around for a long, long time. He's actually of the people that are winning, he's the one I've actually known the longest. He was practically the first, practically the first theater practitioner I really ever got to know. And he has been also reviewed for us for many, many years, and he hosted a lot of podcasts for us. And he did a lot of other content and just helped us with a lot of our projects over the years. And he's also got a project right now. I think it's called something like "I Am Not Mike White." That may not be the right title of it, but he's got a doppelganger who is this actor Mike White, who's in The White Lotus, and he is doing a show about that, what it's like to look like someone famous, and that's a really delightful show. So the fourth and fifth winners are David Fuller and Judith Jaros, who are together are the people that run Theater 2020 in Brooklyn, which is a wonderful long-running theater company. Before that, they ran Theater 1010, which was up in the Upper East Side. And also for many years, David Fuller was the artistic director of Jean Cocteau, you may recall. So they've got lots of producing and directing credits between them, and also were very, very important to the success of our organization, serving as advisors, serving as reviewers, helping us with podcasts. Judith helped us when we made our fledgling attempt to do television, which we never really got our fingers too deep into, but we tried. We leave that to you, the pros who do TV better than us. And also they provided us with space for a number of our events over the years. And so David and Judith are the fourth and fifth winners. And the last one is Alina K. Holy, who was the producing artistic director of Fringe after John left for the last 12 years or so of the Fringe Festival, and made that into the sort of amazing, strong, remarkable theater festival that it was. She's now not working directly for theater, but she's still in the arts. And I'm looking forward to seeing her. I think a lot of people haven't seen her since Fringe ended about 8 years ago. And she too has provided us with an enormous amount of support in terms of venue support, and also just providing us with, helping us with our reviewing of the Fringe shows every year, providing us with a lot of publicity. I mean, a lot of people may not remember, but one of the things that Alina did for us that was really special was to have me be the person who opened the Fringe Festival every year. I was at the Fringe Grand opening ceremonies every year. I was MC more than anyone else, which really helped get people focused on what nytheater.com was doing in terms of reviewing shows. And it was really wonderful of her to give us that extra bit of publicity in those days when the Fringe was a big deal and lots of people could have gotten publicity, but she gave it to us. So I appreciate that. Anyway, that's the 6 people who are going to be honored in this event. They'll all be there as far as we know. And we're excited, and they'll all have time to speak a little bit about. Hopefully, they'll have interesting things to say, and hopefully they'll all have things to say about their memories of my mother, because they were all people that knew her very well, and I think miss her very much, and we'll be happy to share in the tribute to her. And then after we do the awards, we're going to have then a regular sort of memorial. Not a service, but just a little memorial gathering. We're hoping that, we'll have a nice crowd of people in the room, and those people will be able to remember her together. My niece, Julie Congress, who I'm sure you remember, Eva, when you knew her, she was much shorter than she is now. Is like me with Alfie. I'm sure Alfie looks much taller now than I have seen last time. But at any rate, Julie is going to be organizing the tribute at the second half of this event. And we have some people have already volunteered and said they want to say a few words about my mother. And hopefully others that are in the room will want to speak up as well. And, just have some time to remember all the amazing things that she did. And she had, it's interesting. She had a tremendous impact on the community in ways that I didn't even personally always realize, just through interactions with the hundreds and hundreds of artists that we got to know, when we were waiting to see the shows every night, with you and other people, a lot of people interacted with her, and they have great memories of some of the conversations they had. And, and she basically made our organization possible. She was the managing director of our nonprofit for 20 years. And without her, we wouldn't have been able to accomplish any of the things we accomplished. So I'm glad that we'll have a chance to give her a nice, elegant, stylish send-off in the way that she would have liked, just surrounded by people who she cared about and people who practiced an art that she loved and cared about deeply. And, we'll also have some light refreshments and just time to chit chat. And the other thing that's special is that we've been able to locate, for the first time ever, we're going to see her on video because Frank Kusler, who is the documentarian for the Fringe for many, many years, I remembered that he did interview her for the Fringe documentary he was doing. And I asked him if he could possibly find the footage. And he very sweetly did find it. And so we will have some video featuring my mother, which is a real gift to me personally, because we don't have any other video of her. So it's nice to have her back live again, so to speak. And it'll be, I think, a nice, fun treat for everybody in the room to get to see her and remember her again in a different way. So sorry for that long answer to your question, but that's kind of what's happening.
Oh no, it's wonderful. It's like it just took me back to so many moments. Everything. It's like, and you know what they say? There's always a great woman behind whatever.
Yeah, well, she was the great woman behind my father and then me. She was a wonderful inspiration to both of us. Well, I'm excited that we're going to be able to, like I said, be back in front of some people again who we've missed. And I hope, hopefully this will turn into an annual event and hope to provide some kind of support for this community because they're certainly need it and deserve it. And it's in my heart to do it. Great. And let me just mention one thing, Eva, which is if people who are watching this do want to attend, it's open to the whole indie theater community. You don't have to buy tickets, but I would appreciate it if people would go onto the Facebook event or the website to RSVP just so we get a good head count, so we put out the right number of chairs, basically. So if people could RSVP, that would be great.
Jeff Ross's Take a Banana for the Ride is a humorous and loving tribute to his grandfather and family. He starts off affably roasting himself with his alopecia, which he considerately bald-splains for us. Who needs a tap with Jeff Ross making being bald something to laugh about, not cry over? His family of ball-busters, as he calls them, hail from Newark, New Jersey, where his grandmother Rosie started a catering business before women did such things. It became quite famous. It was called Clinton Manor, and it became a family business. From his colorful stories of his family, one could see how he became a roast master comic par excellence as he gets us all to sing, "Don't fuck with the Jews." With Jews getting a bad rap, it was nice to be reminded how funny, wonderful, and resilient we are. But mostly this is about a 78-year-old roomie, his mom's dad, whom he called Pop Jack. He is the one who gave the title to the show. When Jeff Ross went into New York City for gigs, Pop Jack would tell Jeff to take a banana for the ride. It was his version of As You Wish. My friend pointed out that the projections of photos and video from his earlier years helped us further feel the nostalgia and understand Jeff's history with his family and colleagues. This show had me choking with laughter and choking back tears. But don't worry, he still has a place to work the audience, coming into the audience and roasting you if you were so inclined. You will go bananas for the show. It is very appealing, and I give it a happy face plus.
Now for a slightly different point of view. So I didn't quite find this as wonderful as you did, Eva.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm surprised because the audience and me and my friend, we were just screaming and we were so happy. We were all talking afterwards how much we enjoyed it. So I'm sorry it didn't have that effect on you.
No, it just didn't. I mean, it's not that he isn't a good storyteller. It's not that sometimes he can't be poignant. And as I said, sometimes he is a comedian and sometimes can be quite funny. But unfortunately, I found it too much of a therapy session. Well, I don't like one-person shows anyway. And maybe I was expecting something. I thought this was just going to be a comedy act. I didn't realize he was taking me taking me on a ride and giving me a banana and on his life. So I'm going to give it a mixed face plus.
Sophie McIntosh's Roadkills is an arresting character study of two antithetical personalities that push the audience to consider the morals they've always known. Jackie, played at my performance by understudy Anna Aubrey, is a cynical young college student performing court-ordered community service for drunk driving. Owen, played by D.B. Milliken, is a tender-hearted roadkill collector who has agreed to provide service positions for convicts. Sophie McIntosh writes a quick step with a snarky rhetoric matched with patient consideration, both characters perfectly nailing comedic timing but in opposite ways. This rhythm pushes the show towards the finish line, whether you're ready to experience yet another animal killed by a car or not. Nina Goodhart and Sophie McIntosh prove to be a match made in heaven, with unflinching writing and gorgeous direction that brings true honesty from actors in every show from their Good Apples collective. I give this show a happy face plus.
This is Mark and my review for Shakespeare's Twelfth Night at the newly reopened Delacourt Theater. Twin brother and sister Sebastian and Viola, unbeknownst to each other, survive a shipwreck. Disguised Viola as Arsenio's manservant ends up in a love triangle with Arsenio and Olivia. Sir Toby Belch, with carousing buddy Andrew Aguecheek and Olivia's maid Maria, despise Malvolio and cruelly plot to humiliate him. Antonio, who's rescued Sebastian, falls in love with him and follows him, knowing it will put him in danger. Will all disguises and trickeries be revealed and everyone find their true love? This production focuses on madness and gay overtones. It also has a very contemporary feel with rapping, voguing, and a hot tub. It's very much a big spectacle for people to enjoy an evening in the park. There is a great deal of music in the show, often provided by Moses Sumney, which I found rather boring. And this show has an amazingly fine cast of star performers, with real brother and sister Lupita Nyong'o and her brother Junior Nyong'o, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, and Peter Dinklage as Malvolio. To me, steals the show, and I can't stand what they do to him. Despite Mark's reservation, he strongly recommends this star-studded lavish production and gives it a happy face minus because of the way they cruelly treat Malvolio, who has Asperger's. I mean, they're torturing a person with a mental illness. I will always give this play an unhappy face, no matter how good it is. Our next show is September 20th. Hotsy Totsy tribute to the films of Meryl Streep will be on September 11th. And singer-songwriter and raconteur Cornwall at the Hidden Jewel Box Theater, September 7th. And going on at the Brick is a whole of time until September 20th. Heck of a lot more, but no time.